तू 60th मिनट की रीडिंग को लेके आगा बनाता है। जितनी भी थी से 554 का मैक्सिमम वो दिखाता है एब्जॉर्बेंस। जो नैनोमीटर वाली जो रीडिंग्स होती है ना वो लेके ग्राफ बनाती है वाली।
Now will be doing the second smoothing. The first one actually that was not that much of noisy. So now let's see this one. So you have the data pressure V2. Plot this data. So now those smoothing, some smoothing. Now, if you see, like the number in point of windows have taken five, initial point of windows have taken five. Still there is noise. There is not much noise reduction is there. The peak height is still there. So instead of five, stick 50. See, now I have a smooth curve. Noise, the noise has been reduced in the curves. Now I have a smooth curve. Now check changing the method. So instead of SG method, if I use the adjacent average, you see the small peak, it has been valued because of the adjacent average. So if you really want to intake the preserve your the peak shape, you always use SG method. Otherwise, you can use adjacent average also. And rest of the methods, it's up to you whether you want it or not. So that these two methods are important to doing that basic smoothing. One of them is a speak. Yeah, so that's in that case you have to use it. You have to use it because that only the hardness of the shape of the peak will be only if you are using it. So adjacent average, if you reduce your peak, the height of the peak or you reduce your height of the peak, it takes the number of data, number of points of windows that
Sir,
if you want to preserve your data, let's say like if you are like whether your interest is to see only to see the shape. You don't bother about the height of the peaks or not. So that in that case you can use it just an average. You are not an issue. But the peak height or if there is a smaller peak, small peak that you want to preserve it, so you want to show it in your data. Okay, this small peak also should be there in my data. So then you have to use it. Produce it. Yes, Sakshi.
सर वॉइस नहीं आ रही।
So this in peak analyzer, now you have different options. So goal, you have in peak analyzers, you can integrate your peak. That is, you can find out the area under the curves. You can find your peaks, the peak finder. You see, you have options that you find peaks. Then you have subtract baseline. You have create baseline. So now in this case, we will be subtracting our baseline. So for that, baseline correction. So for this kind of data, we'll be subtracting our baseline. So select subtract baseline. So now we are working on our goal is to correct our baseline. So our goal is subtract baseline. Then next. So here the baseline mode, in baseline mode default settings of baseline mode is constant. But so if you see the baseline mode, if the constant baseline mode is this one is base. It is taking the constant baseline is taking this one. Okay, but our base, the peak, if you see the peak base, this is not the baseline, right? So for that, what you have to do, you just give this user define, then select this baseline anchor points as a second derivative. Now you have to define some points on your curve, that you have. So let's say taking the number of data points as 10 data points, and click on finds. Okay, now there are some data points on the peak. There are some data points are defined. So then you have to modify your data points so that okay, deselect this enable auto find, then modify and delete. So what you have to do, you have to drag these points. Not.
Sir, it is not yet getting clear.
Data points. So 5, 20. Next. Now you need to modify these lines, because these are the line created by the default from the default settings. Now you have to define this line, the baseline. Okay, so modify or delete, select or modify, delete, and then you drag these points to the extreme bottom. Mostly the extreme bottom. Those are the extreme bottom is there. So make sure that your whatever the curves you are creating, that curves are not intersecting the peak with any of the peak. So just drag this point to the extreme bottom, the extreme peak bottom. Now, if you see here, these portions are intersecting my curve, right? So that also just give it some. Okay, so then click on done. Next. So next, then click on app subtract. So now you see, once you click on the subtract, there's the baselines, the baselines has been corrected, and you have. So now to see whether all your baseline, the base are on the around straight lines or not, draw a line here. You see there is still like the baseline, still these portions are below the base, right? So your baseline is this one, but this portion is below the base. So again, you can go back and you can readjust the point that you have defined, readjust your points, and you can again redo it. So that your baseline, you do not have any peak below the baseline. So if we go to the previous, see, if you see these portions, the points that I have defined here, so it is intersecting any peak. Okay, so click on modify, just drag it to here. Done. Next, then subtract. See, now I have more almost the baselines, all the peaks are at the baseline. बेस वो डिफाइंड है, तुम्हारा जो बेस लाइन है वो कहाँ पे, बेस लाइन टॉप में है कि बॉटम में है? वो जहां पे बेस लाइन अगर टॉप में होगा तो क्रिएट बेस लाइन, अगर टॉप में करना है क्रिएट सबस्ट्रैक्ट बेस लाइन ये है जो जहां पे हम लोग बेस लाइन दे रहा है उस बेस लाइन के नीचे जितना पार्ट है उसको सबस्ट्रैक्ट करेंगे. क्रिएट बेस लाइन है, अगर ऊपर बेसलाइन क्रिएट करना है तो बेसलाइन ऊपर से उसको क्रिएट बेसलाइन होगा. Okay, then finally click on finish. So now you have, if you go to the baseline correction data, so you have corrected these are your corrected baseline data. These data are the subtracted data, the data that has been subtracted from your base. So the first two columns, after your data, these two columns are your the corrected your data after correction. The last two columns is for the subtracted part. Okay. So if you now if you plot this the subtracted one. You see now you have a baseline, corrected baseline plot. Remember these last two is the subtracted one. This is not your baseline. The corrected one is the first two. So this was your actual data. Then after corrections, this is your baseline corrected data, and this one subtracted data. So any doubt on baseline corrections? So the next section is peak finder. Okay, so these are some data having a peak. So what I want to find by peak. So the number of how many numbers of peaks are there. So there, and each peak and corresponding value of each peak. Okay, so same. The method is almost the same method, same process. The analysis, you go to the peak analyzer. From analysis, peak and baseline. Then go to peak analyzers. Then open dialog box. Now here our aim is to find peaks. So here in the gold selections that you select on the find peaks. Click on next. Now see the baseline here. The baseline here is I don't need any baseline corrections, right? For timing, let's say I don't need any baseline correction, so keep it as it is. Baseline correction, baseline part, keep it as it is. Then next. So do not select this one if you don't want to. If you don't want to correct your baseline, if you want to correct your baseline, then you can select it auto subtract baseline. So automatically your baseline will be subtracted based on the in the previous window, whatever the options you have selected. Okay, click next. So I'm not correcting baseline because the baseline is already almost corrected here. So now finding the peaks, that you have two options. You have an auto option. Then you select auto. If you enable auto option and then select find, automatically all the peaks, the origin will identify all the peaks and give you the values of the peak values of all the peaks. Else you have options to do it manually also. So let's first try auto enable find. So there are 10 peaks is there. However, these peaks, they have the upward peaks. All the peaks, they have the origin is even the same upward peaks. This is an APS vector with percentage of transmission vector. So in that case, the goal is to identify the downward factor as well. Okay. So now to do that, you have to do it as you have to pick your peaks manually. So for doing that, let's say disable this enable auto find and then click on the clear all. So you automatically all the peaks that will be cleared here. Now click on add and now you select one peak one by one. So first say that I have one peak here, small peak, one peak here, double click on it, then one peak is here, just at the max, at the minima, you just click on at the minima. Then I have one peak here, double click on it, then click on this. So there are 9 peaks is there. So click on done. Now you see so you have the points in the peak. Yeah, sure. So whatever it is, if you have to select upward. Okay. So if it is upward one, that's the upward one. If you want to do the lower one, that's you can keep it the lower one. It's up to you. Okay, so I'm clearing it again, all these data, then again I'm doing it, clear all. So now once you disable this auto, enable auto find, then you click on add. Then so let's say this, let's take some an upper one as well. So yeah, not necessarily you have to do it all for all the peaks. So maybe you can skip someone if you want to skip some peaks, you can skip also. Then click on done. Then automatically you'll have the peaks, all the all the peak values here. Okay, so next here you have some options here. A peak finding settings. So in peak finding settings, you have some options whether you want it in the positive direction or negative direction. So if it now the values, all the values are in the positive, it might have negative, positive or negative. So better you keep it in the both. This is as it is. Keep it as it is. Now label and so under label and markers, now if you want to mark these points below the peak, so from positions you have to select below, so it will comes at the below positions accordingly. So you can change this location, left, right, you can change these locations for the tick, this tick. Okay, once you have completed, click on finish. So now you can so these values is, so you can change the formatting of these values from here itself. So from here you can disable the for example this baseline, disable in the baseline. If you don't want the peaks, you can disable it. Cool. So any questions on Peak Finder? After? So let's go to the area under the curve. So while doing the area under the curve, remember one thing. So before finding area, so you must correct your baseline. If the baseline is not corrected. So area under the curve will be given you the area under the curve from till the baseline. Okay, from the maximum point to till the baseline, the area. So you should correct your baseline. So now since this is a corrected plot, so I'm not doing it. So I'm directly same process, analysis, peak and baseline, peak analyzers, open dialog box. Now, So while calculating area under the curves, you should integrate your peak. The area is nothing but integration. So you should integrate your peaks. So now the goal should be your integrate peaks. Click on next. Baseline mode, I don't need any corrections. Baseline, so if you see that constant baseline itself is good enough, then click next. So keep it as it is. So you can find your peaks here, like how many peaks you are interested, how many peaks in the area of how many peaks you are interested. You can here. So same things you can either you can do it that auto. So if you are doing it auto, so that only to identified origins are identified 2 peaks. Now if you need this peak as well, so it's not considering it as a peak. So you need to do it add. Done. So now you have 3 peak here. Okay, we have 3 peak here. Same label and markings, keep it as it is. Next. Now see, so this the area of this the highlighted one. So you'll get this area of this highlighted one, area under the curve. So for these curves, you will get area for these portions. The curve one. So you will get the area from this from this line to this line. Be in area under this curve. Similarly from this point, these curves, it is the broadness of this curve is from here to here. Okay, so now again you have some quantities. What do you want? So quantities, for example, peak area, curve area, all this row index, full width, half maxima. So this is important if you are working with XRD data and you want to find out the crystal size. Some formula is there, k lambda by beta cos theta. So that beta is full width, half maxima in radians. Just remember one thing: the data that have is data. That XRD data are in degree, and the full width, half maxima also you get it in degree. Then you have to convert it to the radian while calculating your crystal size. So that's say if I need a peak centroid, so keeping it as it is, then click finish. Now go to the data, then you will have all these data. See in results, you have three different peaks. So you have area, all this area of the three peaks, then you have centers. You have full width, half maxima. So is that clear? That any questions on area and full width, half maxima? Okay, so now you do it for that peak finder graph, or you consider the smoothing graph. The smoothing data, start with the smoothing data. So and then you do it integrate P. So while integrating P, first you smooth the data, then after smoothing the data, then in that window itself, for peak, integrate peak itself, you find correct the baseline and then find out the peak for smoothing data. So you have to do it now. Okay, I'm assuming you can do it. You will do it. So now let's open the basic statistics file. So how many of you are doing the statistics? Based on that. So one thing I'm not discussing what is mean, median, mode, standard deviations. I'll just I'll show you how to calculating it. Or I am not discussing the meaning and how to interpret some of the interpretation I even I don't. I'll just show you how people can do it. What to do it, you will have the parameters, the significance of the parameters, of the significance of parameters. Okay. So significance, don't ask me about the significance. That's the same thing for ANOVA. I even 15 years old, I even don't know the full form of ANOVA. So I don't know the significance. I'll just show it how to do it in the quality. So here in the basic statistics, we have 5 to 6. We have our 5 to 6. About the state alpha, then we have the statistics of columns and rows. Then the frequency count of distribution fitting, and then correlations. In correlations, we only cover the Poisson correlation. That's one. Sorry, Pearson correlation. I only cover the Pearson correlation. Then I have ANOVA. ANOVA is covered only one way. Okay. So ANOVA is one way and two ways. I cover this only one way ANOVA. So let's start with the status bar. So what status bar is like? The status bar, once you select some data, if you're selecting some data, just select some data on your workspace. So let's say I'm selecting some data. These are the data I have selected. So once you selected this data, you'll have summary of this data at the bottom of the status bar. You see here the status bar is there. You have the average of this data, the sum, the data, total sum of this data, then count, number of counts, all these things you have here at the status bar. This is called status bar. Now if you can modify your status bars. If you want to see some, if you want to show some more data, or some of the more parameters on the status bar. So if you right click on the status bar, see you have some other options here. So let's say if you want to show the minimum as well as maxima, standard deviations, median. So if you select it, then you see you have all these data. So let's say, so all these data you have here: average, sum, count, minimum, maximum, standard deviations, median. All these data you will find it at the status bar. So you can copy this statistics. You can copy the statistics. If you right click on it again, if you right click on it, you have an options copy statistics. If you see the copy statistics, so you can, so remember this data, this is the parameter based on how many data you have selected. The selected data, these parameters are based on the selected data. Whatever the data that you have selected, for example, in a worksheet, in your workspace, if you need for a particular set of data, you want to see that whether how the medians and mode. So that you can do it by just simply by just selecting this data only. Okay, so you can copy these data. Let's say copy statistics, and you can paste it to a new workbook. So these are the data: average, sum, count, minimum, maximum, standard deviations, then median. So all these, so you can copy it from there. So now if you see, let's say you want to see that you want to see the data of this a column of the whole column. So here you can add your some parameters also, user parameters, some user parameters. So if you click on the long name, select the long name, then you click on insert. There you have user parameters. So in that user parameters, if you click on the drop down of menu, so here you have some parameters. You say mean, median, mode, standard deviations, count, sum, all these things in this. So for example, say I want to see the mean of each column. So you select the mean and then click on add. Okay, somewhere in this it might be, there might be already mean is already there. So I have calculated from somewhere most probably. So just renaming it mean one. So you see the for all these columns, the mean is even calculated and it is there in your that the axis. So now let's say mean, then you want the median as well. Same median, let's say 1. So you have median, then you show standard deviations. Let's say standard deviation. You have standard deviations. So accordingly, you can change the, if you want to, let's minimum and maxima. Okay, so these are the parameters that you can calculate on your each column. Now, if you want to drag it to the bottom, so here you can do that, move row down. So select those rows and then you can move row down. So now you have all these data: mean, median, median, standard deviations, minimum and maximum. So these data you can do the analysis. So you can now you can add the sparkline as well. So these are the data. These are the particle size data. Okay, so for particle size data, now if you want to see that how it's working, so you can, if you select any columns and then there you'll have one mini tab. So in that mini tabs, you have options to add the sparkline. So let's say if I click on the sparkline, so I have the sparkline say here for these. Say similarly for these two, so you can do these two as well, sparkline. So So since these data are the something, so the distribution, some like the distribution. So you can, if you want to change the spark line, so instead of the line, if you want it as an like for example histogram, so that here you can select. So just select the spark line, then right click on it. You have add or update spark lines. So add or update spark lines, here you have the plot type. So you can select plot type by the line. Now it is the plot type is line. So from there line, if you selected the histogram, so see you have now histogram instead of spark lines, that is histograms. So all you can do it at all at a once. So click on this, all these, and then right click on it, add or update spark lines, histograms. Okay. So if you double click on the histograms, you'll get the histograms. Yeah. So any it's clear the status bar. Any doubt on status bar? Any queries? So next, going to the statistics on columns and row. So here we'll be doing some statistical analysis on columns and as well as some on rows. Okay. So first, let's start with the rows. So these are the data, so data of the voting percentage data. So what I want to see how the data, state-wise variations of the data. If you see for a different state, I have 3 different generalizations data. So now I want to see how the data are very state-wise. State-wise with last 3 different generations. So the statistical analysis, I'll be doing the statistical analysis on the row, on each row, right? Here the statistical analysis I'll be doing on each row. So just select all these data here. Then you have a tab statistics. From statistics, go to the descriptive statistics. Then you have statistics on rows. Okay, so data range, you have to select a data range. So your data is B to D, right? The data is B to D, and your group, the group is AX, the long name. So data range, your data range B to D, data range, the first one is not your data, the data is B to D, then group, select group as a long name, and then quantities, whatever the quantities that you require. So where, for example, I need variance, then mode, mean standard deviations, and quantiles. In quantiles, I need minimum, maxima. Sorry, not significant, minimum, maxima. So these are some computational controls. I'm keeping it as it is, the default values here. The output. So here the outputs result log. So we'll be needing some result log. And again here recalculate options. So recalculate options, you can keep it as an auto or manual. So once you select all these things, just click on OK. So now you see the statistics, mean, standard deviation, variance mode. Since it's not like mode and median is not applicable for this data, this kind of data. So that was the mode as the NN values is there in mode. Okay, so this is for the statistics on rows. So if you need more parameters, or if you have some larger numbers of parameters, so you can quantities, you can enable different other quantities as well, like other this mix, maxima, minima, quantity and quantiles, all these things you can change accordingly as per your requirements. So now coming to the row, so then again go to statistics, and then so one more thing. You have one stats advisor in the, if you, for example, you have certain set of data, you don't know, like what do you want, but you don't know what on what programs you should use from the statistics. So you have stat advisor. So in stat advisor, they'll ask you certain questions based on your data, what kind of data it is, what do you want. So according to that, they'll suggest you some like some of the operations. So let's show it. The stat advisor. So now summarize what kind of data is, what do you want to do, what kind of data. So for examples, then in our case, what I want is a summarized description or present data with basic statistics. Okay, so that is selected. Then you, which statistic result do you want? Basic statistic result, examples, mean, standard deviations on or mean frequency, or outliers, graph or counts or percentage. So what I want is the mean, standard deviation, the basic statistics one. So if you click on that, then they'll give you the certain options, using which one using you can do it. So there are right there are some apps is there for a particular applications for calculating mean or calculating median. So you have some app in the app center, so that I'm not going. See, if you see that this app centers is there, statistic gadgets is there, so that I'm not doing today. So these are, so let's say now we'll be doing statistics on columns, right? Now we are doing statistics on columns. So let's just select statistics on columns, and then you can directly open dialog box. So directly you can open it from here, dialog box. So now let's say now I have columns here. I have some age, certain age group based on, and then male and female. Then I have heights of, there are heights and weight. These are my data. So what I want column wise. Now I want column wise. Based on the age groups, I want how the heights are varying. Then again how the weights are varying based on the age group. So that I want. So now what I want, the statistics on the column. So for that, so again, statistics, descriptive statistics, column. So select independent columns, then you select your worksheet data. So which one is, for example, now I'll be working on the height, how the heights are changing. Then group, age on with respect to age group, how the heights of individuals are changing, that I want. Then quantize cell, again, what are the things that you need, mean, median, and with the frequency, total frequency, mode. So here let's say I need maxima, minima, median, output.
So you have selected A's here. What is
default
how
settings, the plots, what are the plots? Okay, okay, let's say you need an histograms. So histograms, and histograms you can change the y-axis, so that you want in terms of count, or you want in terms of relative frequency, or it is in terms of density. So let's say in terms of relative frequency, then click on OK. Click yes. Now you see you have the based on the height. So I have 4 different categories of height: 15, age group 15, 20, 25, 30. Right, 15, 20, 25, 30, and then there 15 like 15 having 15 is the frequency is 9. For 25, 25 is 8, 30 is 7. The mean the 15 age group, the 15 the here having the 15 age, there the mean of height is 137, 37.55. So these are the means and the standard deviations. Some you got minimum values and maximum values. These are the median. So these I have done on height. Now if I do it on the O8 as well, so let's say now I'll be doing it for O8. Quantiles as it is. So this is on the basis of weight. So is it clear? Statistics on columns and rows. So you can do it all this for all the columns at a time also. So if you select all three columns, let's say these three columns, and then analyze statistics, descriptive statistics columns, open dialog box. Then you have three columns. All these three columns you have here. Now select the gender. Now I'm doing it on the basis of gender. So let's say genders. Then click OK. Yes. So you see for age on the basis of gender now for male, females, and others. Same for age, for height, and for weight. So you have that, and that's a summary of the statistics. So next is frequency count. Now if you have some distributions from that, how you can count the frequency. Different frequency, it might be index frequency or it can be based on this number itself. Okay. So let's say if for this you have same things, same data sets. Now here I have the higher number of data sets, like the same data as previous. So the statistics, then descriptive statistics, and then the frequency counts. So here you have two options, whether your data sets are raw data or index data. So now let's say I'm doing it for the raw data. The what index data is, they will show it later. So the raw data, the frequency count for the height. So you have, these are the default setting. These are the defaults that has been already taken some maximum and minimum value. So if you want to change that you disable this auto, and then you can change it your maximum bean values and maximum and minimum bean values, right? So let's keep it for time being. Let's keep it as auto. Then your bean size, you have two options. Either you can give it the bean size or you can give it the total number of beans. So if a bean size, the auto be same things, you can give it as auto settings, or it can be, or you can change it as well. So in case of number of beans, so you need to give the number of beans, how many number of beans you want for that distributions. For let's say number of beans, let's say I need 20 number of beans there. So and then these are the quantities which what do you want. So let's say need the relative frequency, also cumulative frequency, and the frequency in terms of whether you need it in terms of fractions or it is in terms of percentage. So that you can select here from there. Then you click on OK. So you see these are all this all these are the frequency. Like 120, the having 121 centimeters. So these are the frequency.
Sir?
So you have bean center, bean end, and bean center. So bean center is but your starting and ending, the center of the starting and end. Okay. So in that you can change your the data. So the starting of bean, if you wanted the starting of bean, then end of the bean as well, so that you can calculate. So these are the relative frequency that the counter frequency. So this is the counter frequency. Then you have cumulative count, relative frequency, and then the cumulative frequency. So similarly, you can do it for other parameters as well, like these are for the weight and height. Okay, so now if we do it for the index index one, so statistics, descriptive statistics, go column, open dialog box. So instead of independent columns, sorry, frequency count. So here input data from, instead of if you select the index, so group range. So group range, under which group range, which one you want, like whether you want, for example, let's say I want it as a group range as a the gender and the data. So what are the data? Let's say these data, age, height, and weight. So bean begin, bean center, bean begin, bean. Select all these things, then click OK. Now you see the frequency. Now here the frequency is like the 14 to 16. If the age group of 14 to 16, so you have the frequency of 12. So these are the frequency. So this is, you can change your number of beans or the number of beans or the bean size based on that. So if let's say you want your data like in the range of 15 to 20, 20 to 25, 25 to 30. So then instead of giving the number of beans, you just give a bean size. So your bean size will be 15 to 20, that is fine. Bean size is fine, right? So if you do it. कौन सा वाला? Okay. So statistics, then in the descriptive statistics, and then frequency count, open dialog box. So what I want here, the instead of raw is like only on a particular column, index, from index, group, range, so which one, on which one you want to do it. So let's say my group range is age. I want to in terms of age, group range is age, and then parameters, which parameters you want. So I've selected here as a height. Okay, so now bean size, let's say I'm giving bean size as 5 now. So I want 15 to 20, then 20 to 25, 25 to 30, in that range. So these are the parameters. You select these parameters. These are the parameters that you want to calculate, then click on OK. So now see, okay, different. Okay, probably I have selected the height. Okay, yes.
Sir,
So a 14 to 16 age group, in 14 to 16 age group. So group now 14 to 16 age group, you have data separately for female, for male, and as well as for others. If you see, the column is for female, for male, and others as well. For 14 to 16, for example, if you consider the bean size of 14 to 16, in that range, all these things are for female. Okay, the count, the female count, cumulative count of female, the relative frequency, cumulative frequency. Now for frequency, let's say now these are all these for a male, the frequency count of male in that range, all these all these parameters. Then again for others, here you have over others. So these are grouped for three different group: male, female, and other. Okay, so similarly this is for the age. The previous one was, this count was for the height. Same things, if you for the height, if you see, it was done for the height, and for the grouping was made on the basis of age. So I have the age of 15, 20, 25. So all these will be there. See, for 15, these are the frequency. Then for 20, these are the frequency. 25 and the 30, these are the frequency. If you do the grouping one respect to other. So till now, what I have done, we have done for hello, yes, Sakshi.
सर ये इंडेक्स क्या था जो आप सिलेक्ट कर रहे थे?
Sorry, can you repeat it again?
Sir, you have selected index option.
Hello.
सर मैं ये बोल रही हूँ, आप जब ये स्टैटिस्टिक्स बता रहे थे तो आपने इंडेक्स ऑप्शन सिलेक्ट किया था।
हेलो
सर आपको अब आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ हेलो हाँ बोलो क्वेश्चन क्या था
सर मैं ये पूछ रही थी, जो स्टैटिस्टिक्स में आप ये इंडेक्स ऑप्शन सेलेक्ट कर रहे थे ना,
हम्म।
उसका क्या यूज है? वो क्यों सिलेक्ट कर रहे थे सर?
index in that for the group index
आई थिंक वही था सर, जो इसमें फ्रीक्वेंसी निकालते वक्त आपने दिया था।
okay this one like this data see the first one जब हम लोगों ने किए थे तो कोई एक पर्टिकुलर कॉलम पे किए थे उसी कॉलम को डेटा को किए थे ओनली ए सिंगल कॉलम नाउ अगर तुम्हें डेटा चाहिए ग्रुप वाइज फॉर एग्जांपल्स नाउ हाइट जैसे हाइट मेल फीमेल एंड अदर्स में कैसे वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कैसा है मेल के लिए अलग से फीमेल के लिए अलग से देन अदर्स के लिए अलग से तब हमें ग्रुप इंडेक्स करना होगा सो फॉर एग्जांपल इफ आई वांट टू सी हाइट कैसे मेल फीमेल एंड अदर्स में चेंज हो रहा है सो देन स्टैटिस्टिक
sir.
ग्रुप इंडेक्स में करना होगा स्टैटिस्टिक्स ओके So now we are doing it for only for a single column, right? For a single one, let's say single column, and have one with respect to other. So what if, for example, if I want to see how the age group, how height and weight both are varying to age group. How I want both the columns as they were, and have and type. So for that, the options is there 2D frequency counts. So if you see the descriptive statistics here, you will find a 2D frequency count. So if you go the statistics, then descriptive statistics, you have 2D frequency counter binning. So now you can see that how the bean size like see this is your height. So height how height are with respect to age how the heights are varying. You see you have the distribution for for 15 to 6 for example if you consider the age group of 14 to 16 let's consider age group of 14 to 16 so their height in 120 to 125 the count is 3 then in 125 to 30 the count is 3 so you have two dimensional now you have two dimensional data two different the grouping so one grouping is there for the age and another is for height. Previously, we were doing it for any individual's one. And now here we have two grouping is there, right? So for this kind of analysis, you have to do it 2D frequency count. So that will find statistics under statistics and then that 2D frequency count and binning. Any questions on frequency count? If not, then we'll move to the next. Then moving to the distributed fittings now. This is I have a particle size distributions here. Particle size distribution. So here to get the histogram or the distribution fit, you have two options. Then you can directly plot your histogram from the front option. Then you have statistical tools. From that you can directly plot it. So let's say the plot, and then you under statisticals you have histogram options, right? So from that histograms you will get you'll get your histogram, right? So now you can change this histogram. If you double click on it, then you have options to change it, the number of beans and then all these things. So here if you see the data, under the data it is taken as automatic beaning. So instead of bean size, say you have 20 beans. So if you reduce your bean size, the number of beans will increase. So I have reduced the bean size as from 20 to 10. So number of beans increases, or else you can do, instead of bean size, you can give number of beans, total number of beans. If you need, for example, I need a 50 beans, total of 15 beans, starting from 80, end at 400. So you have a total of 50 beans here. Then these are in terms of count. Here you can change count for, you can change it to relative frequency, or you can change it to the density as well. So now the distributions. So distributions here, distributions is none. So if you see the distributions here, so the distributions is look like a normal distribution, right? It's more it's close to the normal distribution. So here if you want distribution, so here you can select the normal distribution from the data, from the curve types you select the normal distributions and then click on apply. So you will have a distribution curve also. With that size distributions, that histograms will have an the distribution curve, normal distribution. So these curve types you have to choose the curve type based on how your the histograms look like. So by seeing the distribution, since it's like almost a symmetrical, if we consider the symmetry symmetrical, so that is why here I have selected the curve type as a normal. Now, if you want to feel the bottom of feel the area under the curve, so you can feel bottoms and then apply. So you'll have this the area under the distribution curve. The area will be filled by colors. So you can change the colors. You can change the transparency of the color, so that all these options are there. So this is the one method, so you can directly do it. There's another method is like by the distribution fitting. So if you go to the particle size data, so select on it and the statistics, then descriptive statistics, then here you have a distribution fit. Okay, so if you select the distribution fit, so these are the options here. Then quantities, what are the quantity that you want to calculate. So previous one you have just calculate, you have just plotted your the histograms. Now here you can analyze your data as well. With the histograms you can analyze your data as well. So all these data, so let's say we have done all these things in the frequency count and in that statistics. Then the basic test. So mean test, these are some test if you need it. So let's say mean test, t-test, z-test. These are the testers available. So I'm not going in there. Distributions continued, whether its distribution is continuous or discrete. So this distribution is mostly more likely continuous distribution. So select the distributions here. And now you have different options to select the distribution type. So distribution types is normal here. Then plot, box chart, histograms, probability plot, goodness of fit. Now let's select all the three. So these are the three methods for fitting. Under output, so output will plot it look like that. Then click on OK. So these are all the distribution fitting parameters. So all the distribution fitting parameters are here. So you have, these are the fitting parameter, these are the box chart. So all these parameters are there.
Sir, please explain the last method of fitting distribution.
Okay. So the histogram data. So here I have this data now. So statistics, go to the statistics, then discrete statistics, and then you have distribution fit. So open the distribution fit. So here all these data select this data, these columns selected. Then quantities. So these are the quantities. For example, I need these quantities: variance, sum, skewness, mode. That's all the moments. Basic test. For time being, just keeping this part basic test. Now since our data, these data are the continuous distribution continuous, then what the plots that the distribution function, probability plot, all these things, and arrange plot of same types in case. Then goodness of fit, let's enable solidity, select all three. Output. So these are the outputs. It will create a new report. Then click on OK. So next, the correlation coefficient. So correlation is basically the one parameter, how is the one parameter is correlated with other. So here, let's say we consider the three columns, age, height, and weight. So if I want to find the correlation coefficient of these three, statistics. So you have the correlation types as in Pearson coefficient. So these are the outputs. Then so correlation. So for let's say these three: age, height, and weight. So any doubt till now? Okay, if not, so let's go to the ANOVA. So here I have four different data: time, temperature, pressure, and the corresponding yield. Okay, so these are data I have, four different set of data: time, temperature, pressure, and corresponding yield. So I'm doing the ANOVA analysis of this data point. So I have total 36 data points. Time from 30 to 90, time is from 30 to 90, temperature is 300 to 600.
Sir,
Pressure is 5 to 20 bar. Yes.
your sound is not coming properly.
Okay. Okay, so on this this data set, I'm doing this. I'll be doing this ANOVA analysis. So let's select this, all these, and then statistics. Then you have ANOVA analysis. Now you have four different options. One way ANOVA, one way repeated ANOVA, two-way repeated ANOVA. So today I'm doing only the one-way ANOVA, just to give you the preview of ANOVA analysis. One-way ANOVA. So here, so input data set options is two options: the index and raw. So index data set will be like see in your in one axis you have for example, T1, T2, T3, P1, P2, P3, like that, and you have one column, you have value. So that will be your index data. Okay, if your data set in the like that, P1, P2, P3, in something like that, in one column you have category, in other columns you have value. So this two columns. So in that case, you can do that, the index one. Right now our data are raw data, because I have four columns with data. All the four columns I have with data. So in that case, there will be so we have our input data will be raw data. Now, once you select the input data, automatically that the window has taken the number of labels. So here are the number of labels I have. Total 4 labels: time, temperature, pressure, and yield. So these are the 4 labels, number of labels. Then data set also, it has taken automatically data sets. Now you can cross verify your data. So time data set is the first columns A, the temperature is your B, the pressure C, and then yield is D. So significance levels, I'm keeping this parameter as it is, the default parameters. So based on your systems, your analysis, you will change those parameters. Then comes to the mean comparison. So for mean comparison, you have different methods. So select the first two. Let's select, for time being, select the first two. Test for equal variance. So equal that the variance are equal or not. So that is the test. So you can select all these things, or all these, or any one. So it's up to you. So power analysis, let's give it an actual power and then hypothetical power. Actual power and hypothetical power will be like the fitting, from the fitting. So you can compare what is the actual power and that is the hypothetical power. So output, plot data. So then plots, what are the plots that you need? So say box chart, mean plot, standard deviations, and then mean comparisons plot. Then you click on OK. So these are the your ANOVA analysis, ANOVA parameters. So here you have one-way plot, different all these parameters are here.
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, we did the same analysis earlier in statistics. Then why we are using ANOVA?
This the ANOVA is for, like, so I'm not sure, but probably is for designing experiment, right? For designing your experiment. So this is for if it's for the statistical
So in statistics also we have calculated mean, standard deviation, and by ANOVA we are also finding the
we are dealing with a large set of data. For ANOVA, we are dealing with large set of data. We previously have done just we have calculated. So if have you done ANOVA previously?
No, sir, I have heard it first time.
So then you can skip this one. ANOVA is something, it is something different. Previous the statistics that we have done it for a single columns or for a single row. ANOVA is here you have to work with multiple data sets, multiple the columns and rows. It has different significance. The parameters that the several other parameters have calculated. If you see the data, ANOVA 1/1 data. So here you have different data sets like a F value, P value. So those data sets are there. So that things is different from what we have done previously.
Sir, you have selected the raw data. Other data is what?
Sorry?
Yes, now you have selected the raw data.
Didn't get you.
सर आपने बोला ना कि आपने रो डेटा के ऊपर आप स्टैटिस्टिक्स कर रहे हो, तो दूसरे वाला डेटा कौन सा होता है?
दूसरे वाले data is like just like instead of this data, like I have 4 columns with 4 data. Now instead of this data, like if I can have just for example time 1, time 2, time 3 in that column. So let's create a So here I might have, let's say small t is my time. So time 1, time 2, time 3, then temperature is capital 1, T1, T2, T3. Then I might have pressure P2, P3, P4. Then yield Y1, Y2, Y3, and in these columns I will have some certain values. So these are the index data. So this is called index data. So for this kind of data, the input type will be indexed. Otherwise, if the data are like that, then you will have to choose the raw data, the input type as a raw.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so the last topics are analysis template. So what is analysis template? Actually, for example, like we have done some cup fitting analysis, right? So cup fitting analysis, you have done now. For example, I have multiple set of data. So you don't need to do, if you have an analysis template or an analysis workbook. If you save them as an analysis workbook, so you don't need to recalculate. You don't need to recalculate it for anything. It's not about only the cup fitting. If you're calculating something, if you're working on some statistical analysis, so you have done, once you have done it, if you saved it as a workbook, analysis workbook, you can use that workbook in future, and only thing you have to do is that you just input your new set of data, and then automatically there will be auto recalculations will be there. Okay, so you don't need to do it every time. So just like in the graphic template, the template we have created, so it is similar to that. So I'm just doing it for the user, just showing it for the cup fitting analysis. So here this one, so let's say analysis, then fitting, it was a nonlinear fit. So we have user defined function for that. So that user defined function is my function UDF. So while creating that analysis, what's cheap. So one thing you remember that that options recalculate. You have a drop down of recalculate. Always stick it to the auto. Your recalculate drop down should be selected as an auto. Otherwise, it won't be recalculate. If you are replacing your data, then it won't be recalculate your parameters. You have to do it again. So while creating your workspace analysis workspace, you select recalculate as a auto. Okay, so then sorry.
You said every time we select auto in order to recalculate. Option above it says auto recalculate. Also it can.
That is the manual option. To select a manual option, then you have to select the auto recalculate. The options not options don't be any options or there is to auto recalculate or something. If you selected the recalculate options as a manual, so that the auto recalculate, then it will actually calculate it accordingly. It will calculate. If your options is selected as a auto, you just replace your data automatically. The parameters will be calculated.
So for example, if I have data, multiple of them, so I just do things for one of them.
Excel data for Excel data.
very RAM or something.
Graph.
Like if I have a certain template I've
Graph also you can.
I just have to replace and it will work as a template.
Yeah. Graph also you can. Graph also you can use it as a graph. Graph you can do it until unless you have to do something user-defined functions in that instance. For example, the baseline, you have to do the in case of baseline is not straight. You have to select your baseline. In that case, you will be able to use your graph. So these are the parameters. Let's say I'm keeping it as it is. I don't know whether it's a bounded or unbounded. So this bound value here is just giving a free hand, like it can calculate anything. So then click on fit. So these are the calculations that I have done. Okay. So now I'll be converting this one to a non-linear curve fitting workspace. Now for doing that, what you have to do, in worksheet, you have your options to clear worksheet. So now I'm just clearing the data here. Okay, so clear worksheet. So now I don't have any data. If you see that the values here are all these values, right? So you're for selecting this file, then save window as. So let's say this is curve fitting. So now I'm opening the curve fitting worksheet. So you see these are my sheet. The sheet is empty now. So I'll re-import the data. So this was my analysis workspace. So I'm just pasting the data here. You can import data also. So see, now I have the parameters. All these parameters will be auto recalculated. So you can do it for other analysis also. This I have shown it for curve fitting. So other analysis for statistical analysis or for plotting, calculating.
Sir?
So all these, yes.
Sir?
Yes.
So this last question is not getting clear.
So I have created an the analysis workspace. So it is something like that, like the template. So the calculations here I have done is like a fitted and fitted. I have fitted curve fitting, non-linear curve fit. So what you have to do, like once you have created an workspace, then you can import any data. So without doing any calculations, you just need to import the data, and that automatically the calculations, the auto calculations, recalculations will be there. Like here, this is my workspace. So if I if I open this as an if I open this workspace, so this will be look like this. So I don't have any data here, right? I do not have any data. Now if I paste some data here, so then the auto recalculations will be there, auto recalculations, and then I have all this data I have here. So you can try with separate data, but provided for example, in this curve fittings, the curve fittings will be based on the whatever the equation that you have selected. The equation that here it is y equal to a into 2 to the power bx. So that equation will be the curve fittings will be based on that equation.
सर
Yes.
तो जैसे आपने वर्कशीट क्लियर कर दिया और आपने कोई नया डेटा उसके अंदर ऐड किया है तो फिर वो रिकैलकुलेट होकर नए डेटा वाली कैलकुलेशन आ
वर्कशीट क्लियर नहीं किया, actually worksheet clear नहीं किया. Let me show it again. I have created a workspace. Okay, I have created an analysis workspace, that is this curve fitting worksheet. So if I open this curve fitting worksheet, that will be completely empty, but there are some functions are there already. So if you see that, so this worksheet I have created, so this worksheet is completely empty. Only things I have given here is the different operations. So that different operations are connected with each other. All these operations are connected to this sheet, but since the sheet is empty, then I do not have any data here, nothing's calculated here. So what now, if you are like for example, now you have certain set of data, you want to feed those data for a non-linear fittings of equations y equal to a into 2 to the power bx. So that equation, so what you have to now, since you have already analysis worksheet, so you just need to import your data only, and then your worksheet will do the recalculation. So for example, now I'm pasting data here. So you see that recalculations was happening. Then I have certain I have all these parameters, the fitting parameters here. So any doubt or any questions?
Sir, I have one more doubt. Sir?
Hello, yes, Sakshi.
Sir?
Yes.
सर शायद आपने कल बताया भी था, मेरे को इसमें डाउट है। जैसे हमने 2 कॉलम्स में हमारा डेटा है, हमने उसको प्लॉट कर लिया, और जैसे हम थर्ड कॉलम और हमने ऐड किया उसका डेटा, अब प्लॉट
हाँ,
मैं हमेशा
can you
रिप्लॉट
repeat
करती हूँ।
it?
यस सर। सर मैं ये बोल रही हूँ, जैसे मेरे पास 2 कॉलम्स में डेटा है, मैंने उसको प्लॉट कर लिया। अब जैसे मैंने प्लॉट करने के बाद एक और कॉलम ऐड किया डेटा का, तो उसको भी प्लॉट करना है उसी ग्राफ में, तो कैसे होता है सर वो? मैं तो हमेशा रिप्लॉट करना पड़ता है मेरे को।
मतलब एक नया कॉलम ऐड करना होगा, राइट? यू वांट टू ऐड वन मोर कॉलम, राइट?
यस सर, मतलब न्यू डेटा ऐड किया है मैंने उसमें, तो उसी ग्राफ के अंदर कैसे ऐड होएगा वो डेटा?
ओके, गॉट इट। First you plotted it, now you want one more column, you added one more column here. So let's say one more column you have added that for model C. So you want to add this column to this graph, right?
यस सर।
Okay, so what you have to do here, you can see that one option is there, that layer, the layer. So you double click on it. So once you double click on it, you will have this layer content box. So you see in the graph you already have these two, right? You already have BUI and CY, you already have it in the plot, but you do not have this D. So to add this D, you select D, then you click on this the forward arrow, add plot. Okay, so once you add it to that, then you click on apply. So now see you have a three plot with an model A, B and C.
ओके सर। एंड सर वन मोर डाउट, जैसे ए कॉलम में कोई भी डेटा है, अगर मैं चाहती हूँ कि जो नीचे वाला डेटा है वो ऊपर आ जाए, मतलब कि, तो वो कैसे होएगा? जिस भी ऑर्डर में
नहीं
वो
समझ।
है, तो जैसे आपने कॉलम ए के अंदर डेटा लिखा हुआ है पूरा का पूरा, तो मैं चाहती हूँ
हाँ।
कि जो मेरा लास्ट वाला डेटा है कॉलम ए में, वो सबसे पहले वाले रो में आए, फिर उससे सेकंड लास्ट था वो फर्स्ट से सेकंड पे आए, तो वो कैसे करना होता है इंटरचेंज?
जो ये जो है लाइक इसको 0 to 5 को नहीं करके 5 to 0 करना है, राइट? Hello.
Yes sir.
So you are asking, right? So for example, this axis it has 0 to 5. Now उसको 5 to 0 करना है इस टाइप, right? We had the query.
नहीं सर, जो कॉलम रो डेटा है यहाँ पे वर्कशीट के अंदर, उसको कैसे करते हैं?
ये
ऊपर से
इसको
नीचे
क्या करना है?
ये पूछ सर। जैसे यहाँ पे आपने रो नंबर लिखी हुई है ना, जैसे फर्स्ट सेकंड थर्ड फोर्थ, ये एफएक्स के नीचे लिखा हुआ है, तो मैं ये चाहती हूँ कि जो 6th रो का डेटा है वो फर्स्ट में आ जाए, 5th का सेकंड में आ जाए, 4th का थर्ड में आ जाए, मतलब कि इस तरीके से शफल कैसे होगा? जैसे 1 2 ये डेटा लिखा हुआ है ना, इसको उल्टा करना है।
क्यों करना है शफल? शफल क्यों करना है? लाइक द सिग्निफिकेंस क्यों करना है?
जब मैं रीडिंग लेती हूँ ना, तो मेरा जिस ऑर्डर में आता है ना, मेरे को उससे अपोजिट में लिखना होता है, तो फिर वो मेरे को दोबारा से मैन्युअली लिखना पड़ता है। तो मैं चाहती हूँ कि कोई ऐसा ऑप्शन होता है जिससे मैं नीचे वाला डेटा फर्स्ट रो में ले आऊं, फिर जो लास्ट सेकंड में था वो फर्स्ट सेकंड रो में आ जाए।
Your voice is tapping.
सीरियल नंबर डाल के डिसेंडिंग ऑर्डर कर सकते हैं।
Hello.
यस सर। सर मैं ये बोल रही हूँ, जैसे आपने कॉलम AX है, इसमें जो 11th पे जो रीडिंग है ना, 11th रो में, वो मैं चाहती हूँ कि फर्स्ट में आ जाए, फर्स्ट रो में। जो 10th पे रीडिंग है
Hello.
वो आ जाए सेकंड रो में। तो उसके लिए कैसे करना होता है? मतलब पूरे डेटा को ऐसे शफल करना चाहती हूँ लास्ट से फर्स्ट की तरफ।
मोबाइल भी तो कर। Okay, that's all from my side.